up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Jess, the Total Package, Craig, the British Bulldog, the Nature Boy Joe, and Cuz off this week, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Can someone feed me today's topic?
Pew, 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 pew. Spring Stampede, the Wild West comes to WCW, Dave. Spring Stampede 19907.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, you better strap in for this one. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. Or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. Jess, why do you hate us so much?
Huh?
Why do you hate us so much?
I thought you wanted to watch this.
No, I didn't. I saw it and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. I was missing me some WCW.
You know, it's April, and I don't want to do everything WWF all the time, and I don't want WCW's legacy to die, blah, blah, blah. But then sometimes when I watch some of this stuff, I'm like, maybe I should just let it die. However, but this was during their hots. This is 1997. WCW firmly in control of the Monday Night Wars, and they could literally do no wrong. Like, no matter how good or bad we think anything is, they're selling out arenas. They're fucking posting up record cable ratings. They're breaking their own record month after month in merchandise and house gates and shit like that. Like, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Pay-per-view records they're setting all the time.
April 6, 1997, at the Tupelo Coliseum in Tupelo, Mississippi, in case you were wondering. The attendance was 8,300.
Tupelo, Indiana, I believe it was.
Isn't the word Coliseum a little bit deceiving in this case?
Yeah. 8,000?
Your Coliseum, you think like the Roman Coliseum, like 30,000 Romans gather.
All right.
Attendance
8,356 with a buy rate of 0.58. The taglines are: "These men do solemnly swear to kick, fight, punch, stomp, and flatten anybody who gets in their way."
That makes no fucking sense, and the poster makes no sense because 2 out of the 4 people on the poster didn't even wrestle, and the tagline doesn't even make sense. So you're right.
Jess,
the WCW marketing department was crap and garbage.
And the opening sequence, was it me or just like the opening sequence? I know it's 1997, so it wasn't the same sort of like computer graphics and everything that obviously we're dealing with now. But like, I'm watching it and it looks like they like the graphics and the design of everything they're doing it on like an Apple II.
Let's see, Jess, can you give us the champions?
I'm already salty. I'm so sorry. I sound like I'm all aggressive. I don't mean to be. There's some good stuff on here.
Okay, Craig, can you give us the champions on WCW and WWF?
Yeah, definitely. So WCW champion is Hollywood Hogan.
Since you guys feel like talking the whole time.
TV champ is Prince Iaukea.
You got that? I think you got that right, actually.
U.S. champ is Booker T.
No,
I know. On the WWE side,
I think it's Tully Blanchard.
Yep. On the WWE side, champion is Shawn Michaels. The Intercontinental champion is Honky Tonk Man. And the tag team champions are Pedro Morales and
Jeff Jarrett.
There you go. Good stuff. Hercules, I think, had a belt somewhere in there. Jess, give us
over on the competition, who was the number 2 American wrestling promotion at this time.
At this
dare
moment,
I say.
Yeah.
The world heavyweight champion of the World Wrestling Federation is The Undertaker.
That's what I said.
The Intercontinental champion is Rocky Maivia.
That's what I said.
And the WWF Tag Team Champions are Owen
Pedro
Hart and
Morales,
British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith.
Well, that's when they were fighting.
Wait, I thought you said 77. Okay, that's Dave stuttered through it.
Yeah, that's fair. Who are our WCW champions going into this?
Wait, Shawn Michaels was champion in 1977?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels Sr., hello.
We're off the rails early, ladies and gentlemen. Jess, who are our WCW champions coming in?
Dave, we'll figure that out as we go.
All right, Dusty Rhodes, Tony Schiavone.
Actually, got those right.
I know that Hogan's the world champion. Hogan,
didn't show up to this.
Dean Malenko's the U.S. champion. Prince Iaukea is the television champion, and
Outsiders tag.
The Outsiders are the tag team champs.
There we go. Hall and Nash tag.
Yeah. I'm going to get so mad.
Thank you, Craig.
In a few minutes when we talk about that. So.
say. I thought I said Pedro Morales and Tito Santana.
There you go. Dusty Rhodes, Tony Schiavone, and Bobby the Brain Heenan are our announcers with some assistance from Mike Tenay. Thank God.
By the way,
God.
Bobby Heenan kind of out of it, a little salty.
Jess, I want to confirm. I didn't see any dark matches here. Did we have any? No dark.
I don't care. Go ahead.
All right. Match number 1: Ultimate Dragon versus Rey Mysterio Jr. Mysterio gets the win here in 14 minutes and 55 seconds. I give it a grade A. I absolutely loved it. Some of the greatest openers in pay-per-view come from our cruiserweights at this time. Mike Tenay is assisting on commentating for this match, which we've talked about several times on this podcast. Without Mike Tenay, the commentary will be lost on these cruiserweight matches. The crucifix by Ultimate Dragon was really brutal. While attempting to get interviews with, that's later on, but I just want to say I give it an A. I love the cruiserweights here. I'm having a lot of fun. It was a good start.
Very successful by Mysterio. Hook him up. 1, 2, 3. Wow, and a great succession of near falls, ending with the Rey Mysterio Jr. roll-up victory. You know, not only was it a great roll-up victory, but it was Rey Mysterio Jr. running out of those suplexes. 2 of them that time, Mike, today, that helped him get the win.
Jess, what do you got?
I gave it a B+ only because I had watched their other previous 2 WCW matches, and this wasn't as good as them. And if I'm saying that this is a B+ and it's the not good one, what I mean, you know what I mean?
Still having
like
fun.
It was, yeah.
You're still giving it a
fantastic.
B+. Yeah.
I legitly did not appreciate Ultimate Dragon back here like I should have. I loved Ray, but I was so fucking irritated because this is the era where WCW starts to treat all their B pay-per-views like Monday Nitro episodes.
Yeah.
And they fucking cut to a backstage goddamn segment with Tony the Tiger and fucking is that Lee? Yeah, Lee Marshall.
Lee Marshall.
Because he actually did voiceovers for Tony the Tiger, by the way. That's why I say that. So he's back there. He's like, Kevin Nash, Kevin Nash, and they're trying to do a thing with fucking Kevin Nash. Who at the
There's
beginning
amazing
of the
matches
pay-per-view,
going on.
Yeah, at the beginning of so there's a tag match between the Steiners and the Outsiders is supposed to take place. The beginning of the pay-per-view, they tell you that Scott Hall had been missing for 3 weeks. So WCW, to try to get back at the NWO because they have
He was in rehabilitation at the time.
They're gonna. He probably was. He probably was. So they were just like, the Steiners are going to take on Nash by themselves because now WCW finally has a chance to get back at NWO. Oh, yeah, Nash? Well, your partner's gone, so you're going to have to take on the Steiners in a handicap match and defend the titles. And then Nash, because they have some kind of stroke, because WCW has lost some matches to the NWO, says, but I get stipulations. So they interrupt this fucking cruiserweight match where both these guys have more fucking raw wrestling talent than Nash ever would have in any part of his body ever. It's like they have more talent in their hair follicle than Nash ever has. Like, and then they cut to fucking, and I shouldn't bash on Nash, but I'm going to just because he's in this fucking thing. And then Six is fucking standing there next to him, and I'm like, you know what? How about this? How about instead of what you're going to do to me later in this pay-per-view that I paid money for, how about fucking Six takes Hall's place? How about that? And you have a goddamn tag match. Like, why not? Like,
no.
So I'm getting pissed, but
that's logical.
But before they even get to that, like, they just interrupted this match for no reason. They're in the middle of an amazing cruiserweight match, and they cut back to a segment that goes nowhere because Nash barely answers the door, and they don't even give you a clue or give you one of the stipulations or anything.
We'll try again.
It's just, wow, I can't believe he slammed the door on me. Back to you. And then
it was unnecessary. You could have done it after the match, which how they did it in part 2, and you didn't even need the fucking break.
And you could have recorded
the interstitial.
Too, so
correct.
Smooth and easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Joe, what do you give it, buddy?
I kind of agree with Jess. In terms of the pay-per-view, I actually gave it an A-, but I think it's a B+ in terms of like the overall the other matches that they had. But in terms of this,
they did a lot of wear-down holds, didn't they? I felt
they did a lot of wear-down holds.
Really,
it wasn't as like you know, back and forth. But in context of this pay-per-view, I gave it an A-. But we're getting a little sidetracked. This match itself between these two guys probably stole the show. I mean, I think it might be the best match on the card.
No.
And we still need a grader from
You're
Krieger's.
right. There's another match. You're right.
Yeah, Public Enemy versus.
Yeah, there's another one.
But this was a lot of fun. It was way better. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. Craig, to you.
I will just give it a solid B. I liked it. I'm with Jess. It's not one of the best kind of Mysterio Dragon matches, but Ultimo got a lot of offense and hard hitting. You forget how young Ray is and how soft his skin is, and how much shit he took at this point for everyone, and let everyone just beat the shit out of him.
And by the way, there was no give in this mat. Like I watched him like land, and he landed like a sack of shit like every time.
Bounce at all.
That Matt never gave for him because he was so light. He didn't like trigger the bouncing. Like, so I felt so bad for Ray because every bump he took, I'm like, oh my God, he's like a stunt dummy. Like he's just getting fucking thrown around.
There was a lot that I remember. Like I think it was even Savage and DDP towards the end. A lot of slams right in the middle of the ring. Like there was no giving it. There was none of that. Like, but yeah,
everybody complained about the WWF mats. And then when Vince actually had to get in there and take bumps, and Vince changed it. And they're like, why'd you do that? He's like, because it fucking hurts, pal. And they're like, really? No shit. Like, we've been doing this for fucking ever on this mat. So it's weird. WCW mats look like they hurt more, but I guess all the talent would say WWF mats hurt more up until a certain point, and then Vince changed it.
While attempting to get interviews with Kevin Nash, the Steiner brothers try to draw out Nash.
I'm back. We're going to get an answer this time. I'm Lee Marshall.
And Scott gets maced, so you know it's going to be a long fucking night.
Patrick. Hold it back. Come on. I'm out of here. Oh, they're macing him.
He's got it in the face. He is spraying that mace in the face of Scott Steiner.
All that usually does is make it go wilder. He's not going to be able to be controlled. He's going to break out of those handcuffs, I'm telling you.
Oh, man, he went ahead and hit an official. Look at this scene here.
Wait a minute.
Why would you fucking pepper spray someone in the middle of a huge crowd? This is the dumbest fucking piece of shit in the history of the planet. No, you got to go back. Well, there's a whole crowd in this hallway.
I don't. Yeah. So here's the question. So
I was watching it. So they go back. First of all, they didn't even need the stupid first segment that interrupted the cruiserweight match.
Slams the door.
And then so they did everything on this one. It was just a get. So Nash fucking puts his big dumb fucking face outside the door, and he's like, my first demand is Nick Patrick has to be our special guest referee," which he had been known to be like an NWO kind of sided referee, which we'll talk about his shirt later.
Bro.
So he looked like Kenny Powers. And so
he looked like he's bound and down, bro, for sure.
So that's fine. And then the Steiners came up. So first of all, they didn't even book this right. So before Nash or maybe Nash was late with his line, but they opened up the door, and I am assuming it's supposed to go, Tony the Tiger opens up the door and says, "Kevin Nash, wow, what do you got to say?" And then he goes, my first stipulation is Nick Patrick. Then the Steiners come up, then the security. But instead, before Nash even says anything, even Lee Marshall's looking back at Scott. He's like, hold on, wait, fuck. Like, because like the security guards are all bum rushing before Nash even got his line out. It's like nobody else knew that Nash's line was going to be the key. So Steiners blow their cue coming early, I'm assuming.
Fantastic.
And everybody comes in, and then Lee Marshall's like, "Pause, go on, Nash, what's your fire?" And he's behind the camera, and he's telling everyone to wait. And then Nash
It's a really good impression, by the way.
Oh, bullshit. And then so finally, then Nash just goes, "Nick Patrick needs to be my referee, and I'm going to close the door. I need to drink more." And then so he closed the door and drinks more. And then Six is still standing there going like, I could be his partner, but why? Dun, 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 dun. So he goes back in, and then this... Scott Steiner does he had been like pushing the whole time, and then finally he does one thing, and then the whole time I had to rewind it because was that Craig Leathers? Wasn't that the one that maced him? I can't remember who that was, but all of a sudden I realized like he had the fucking mace out the whole time. Like he didn't just finally react to it. He was just waiting like to do it. He sprays him with the mace, and then Steiner hits the ground, and he's like, "Ricky, help me."
That's right, Rick.
All I was thinking in my head was like, I fucking hate this.
I hate all the doors. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I hate
because doesn't Nash spits on him, right? Is that what man? That will make
there it is. Okay, that's what did it. Yeah. So Nash spits on him, but poor Scott
gets.
That's
what I read, Craig. Okay, that's what I read earlier.
Thanks. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So then you go ahead and mace the person who got spit on.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
It'll stop the spit from spreading in your eye.
He was trying to wash the spit out of his eyes.
Let me wash that out for you.
Oh, this is my mace can? Fuck, I thought it was water.
Wrong one. Match number 2. Medusa versus Akira Okado for the WCW Women's Championship. Medusa retains in 5 minutes and 14 seconds. I give it a C+. I'm sorry. No, I apologize. Medusa does not win. Okada wins. She retains the title after interference from Luna Vachon that was missed by the referee. It was an okay match. I didn't hate it. It was fine.
That was literally my note. It was fine. I gave it a D+.
But I gave it a C+. I thought the crowd was really into this, surprisingly, because I was shocked. Because I was like, they just saw a really good cruiserweight match, and then I was like, well, they're kind of cheering for Medusa on a lot of spots, which is good, like for what they're trying to do. I was pleasantly surprised, so I gave it a C+, which is probably overgrading it. But like, yeah, I mean, there was no point in it. It wasn't going anywhere. It was a nothing match, and they did fuck the ending up, and Luna came in and kicked Medusa's knee out from under her. She kicked Medusa's knee, so Medusa decided to do a front flip, which I was like, that makes sense too.
Get up. There's Luna Vachon. That's Luna Vachon.
She kicked her right in the knee. Kicked her in the knee. And now sitting up
This
for
can't
1,
be.
2, and 3. Hogan retains the belt.
Last time it was Sonny Ono that got in the way. Now Luna Vachon. And Luna Vachon's been mouthing off of late that she wanted the winner of this match. And it is Akira Hokuto retaining the World's Heavyweight Championship in the women's division.
Whatever you want to do.
And I don't remember the Akira Hokuto era, and I don't remember her being champion other than this match. So it was
just champion because they had a
Did I just
partnership with New
black
Japan
out?
Pro Wrestling and Sonny Ono, and so they wanted to keep
sense.
the
Okay.
Joe, what do you give it, bud?
I also
Hey,
gave
bud.
I also gave it a C+. I always enjoyed Medusa. I always liked her matches. I thought that
She was always intense in there, you know?
yeah, like I mean, I think during an era where there was either no women's wrestling or it was terrible women's wrestling, she was always a breath of fresh air to watch, you know. And I think that
Fair point.
I think it was also very difficult in that time period because, like, you know,
Well, who
As
do
much-
you wrestle?
well, one, who do you wrestle? Two, most of the crowd doesn't want to watch it anyway. So you're going out. I mean, the crowd.
You're already
you know,
against it, yeah.
you know, the crowd in this was at least receptive to it, but I mean, it would have to be hard to go out there and like you're pouring everything you got into it, and you're actually talented. I mean, this is a woman who is like actually with real talent won awards. You know, I think she won Rookie of the Year or something. You know, back then,
Yeah. Over everybody, not just Women's Rookie of the Year. She won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
She won
for
like
Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine.
She
yeah.
could
Yeah,
go.
you know,
She was good.
So
Lord Steven Ringo versus Prince Iaukea for the television championship, 10 minutes flat. I give it a C+. Now listen to this. Iaukea retains. I gave it to see the match was quickly ended in a non-finish, her way, or are you the post that stuff is more fun? There was too many starfishes in the match with Regal Page into the crowd, a little too much at the seams. They didn't mesh very well. That was my note.
What you just said right now reminds me of a dream sequence from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And
Gin
I
is
don't
a
know
hell
what
of
happened.
a hell of a drink.
I didn't catch it. I wasn't able to figure out what I said, and I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it in there. So there
But
you go.
surprisingly, well, I'll go ahead. That makes total sense. I agree with Dave on everything he said. Literally, there's way too many starfish.
So do you give it a grade 7?
I gave it a C+. This is the only thing that's even tangible.
I gave it a C-. Like, this was so fucking slow and boring. I'm sorry for saying that, Steven Regal. Please. It's just
we love
there
us
was
some
no
Regal.
mistakes and it was solid mat wrestling. But I just don't. When like Prince Iaukea gets in there, I don't want to see him, let alone see a wrestling mat classic, which is not a classic, if that makes any sense, from Prince Iaukea. I love Regal. He was not in the best mental states here. If you read his book, he went through some shit around this time. But the fact that he still he still gets in there. He fucking, again, even 50% Steven Regal is so fucking good on the mat. But we didn't appreciate. I don't think I still even appreciated his mat work, even back here. Like,
no, we didn't. We talked about it in previous pods. We didn't.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like he just but he was super solid. But like, what a weird matchup. Just looking at him standing across the ring from Prince Iaukea was an odd visual. And go ahead, take it.
Kragers.
I did not like it, but I gave it a C-.
I gave it a C. I liked Regal's work with the crowd in the beginning. He got a lot of heat.
He did.
It saved kind of the match, but it was long and kind of plotting. They were trying to make Iaukea kind of wins with like a little counter in the turnbuckle and a little like Owen kind of, Brett like Bulldog SummerSlam kind of finish, like a quick roll up in the legs. And then Regal kind of stretches him out at the end. But pretty uneventful. And And it was a long 10 minutes. It was only 10 minutes, but it felt a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
It was too long.
Match number 4, Public Enemy versus Jeff Jarrett and Mongo McMichaels with Deborah. It was 10 minutes and 42 seconds. Public Enemy.
Oh, wait, how long was this?
10 minutes, 42 seconds.
42 seconds.
About 10 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Public Enemy defeat Stephen Michael and Jeff Jarrett.
Oh.
I give it a D. It's a really slow start. It seems like a last-minute replacement match, and I am not having fun. And side note, Mongo is fucking terrible. He's awful. He's missing so many spots.
I don't mean to ruin your dreams here. It was not a replacement match. This shit was booked on the card on purpose.
They talked about some replacements, so I thought maybe it might have been happening.
No, this was supposed to go uncensored the last paper before.
One last note that I put in, I said, when I saw Jarrett attempt to walk out, I thought it was real because he was so upset with how bad the match was going. He almost walked out. I'm like, that could be real.
Yeah, this was definitely, I felt bad for Jarrett in this match, really. I gave it a D-. I don't know why I didn't give it an F. I think, because I put it in my notes here. I put this match was horrible. Not even Jeff Jarrett could save it, but he saved it from an F. For me. Watching Mongo is always magical in the worst possible way. I felt so bad because I watched even Public Enemy. I never thought that Public Enemy would look like a strong entity in a match. In other words, I would always think that there was the two people on the other side, and Public Enemy was a fine bushwhacker type act. I get it. Okay, I get why they're there. I get it.
I don't get that either.
But at the same time, even they were trying to slow Mongo down, and it was like trying to hold a wild animal that just keeps jerking.
Yeah.
And then when they even in the headlock, Mongo's jerking. And you tell them, they're like, "Whoa, baby,
slow down. It's all right."
Whoa, and they're feeding him carrots and petting him.
Girl.
Yeah, they're feeding him feed and they're petting him to calm him down. And he's still just and he and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. And then when Jarrett got in there, I swear to God, both Public Enemy goes, "Thank God!" When Jarrett gets in there because they could just calm down for a minute, and then Jarrett has to tag Mongo in again, and I'm like, okay, if you insist on putting Mongo in a match, he needs to be outside 85 to 90% of the match and just take the hot tag. Just be prepared for some fucking crazy shit and a tombstone. That's all you got to be worried about. But instead, he's fucking starting the match. He gets tagged back in a couple times during the match. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing letting him in there? And I do blame Jarrett for that, actually. Jarrett should have gotten his ear and went stand outside. Don't fucking do this to me. He should have just said that to Mongo and put
come in for the hot tag
on the fucking outside. Even if the mic picked him up, don't fucking do this. Get on the outside now. Should have been the
Joe's ready to jump in. What do you got, buddy?
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh no. I just I actually gave it a WTF because I was so mad that I had to watch. I mean,
it gets worse by the way.
The match
buckle
itself,
up.
The match itself. I guess it was just kind of a period of why was it booked? What was the whole point of this? What was the point of Flair coming out and pumping up the crowd and talking about how cool and kick-ass the Horsemen are going to be, and then to have
parade out Mongo and Jarrett,
then to parade out Mongo and Jarrett, which are two of the I know a lot of people like Jarrett. I think I have.
You don't like his work either.
I don't like Jarrett. I think he oversells. I've never liked his image. I've never liked any remote thing about him.
I don't mind a little double J,
No, I mean the only thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Music's bad. I mean, and maybe as a Flair fan, I don't appreciate him because he's just
you feel like he's ripping him off. I could.
He's just a blatant rip off, and not even a good rip off.
Oh what?
Craig, what do you got, buddy?
I give it a big solid fucking F.
Good. You had the balls to do what I should have done.
When Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge are the ring generals, you have a fucking problem.
We have to get through this. This is so bad. I'm getting so bad. So let's talk about the hotline. Just take my money already. Just take my $1.59.
Ask your parents
you made
permission,
a good living
David.
off that.
I'm sure they did. But after that, we get an interview with Harlem Heat, Mean Gene Okerlund, and Sensational Sherry. Guys, I'm going to ask you, talk about this and fucking be nice, okay? By the way,
why would we be
this
nice?
Scenario was dubbed out on Peacock. I know you want to talk about it.
I need you to explain to me in detail what you're talking about because I have no idea
about.
Okay, we'll move on to match number 5. That's totally fine with me.
For those, real quick, so we don't get into trouble, this is the infamous interview where Booker T calls Hulk Hogan sucker. And if you don't know, don't know what I'm talking about, we cannot talk about it. Just understand.
If you don't know, then you know.
This is an infamous interview, Dave. Move on.
He just said he was coming for you. Match number 5, Dean Malenko versus Chris Benoit with woman for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. This match goes for 17 minutes and 53 seconds.
Dave, let me go first. Let me go. Put me in, coach.
Tag him in.
Go, Jess. Go. Just go. You do it.
I gave this a C+, and that's bad. I was so disappointed in watching Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit be overbooked, like Joe said earlier, completely be the opposite of what Ric Flair said the Horseman was. Like, it was awful in the sense of, not that Dean and Benoit didn't try.
No, it's not their fault.
It was overbooked, a shit storyline. Instead of focusing on two talented athletes for a prestigious United States Championship, I should have given it lower than a C+, but I just could not bring myself.
I think that's accurate.
A Malenko and Chris Benoit, they fucking misuse these guys here.
I see minus
are they
Jess,
doing?
Honestly.
Wow.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. Yeah, Jess.
Are these grades though just focusing on the ending or the whole match as a whole?
No. It's not that, Joe. The work is fine, but the work doesn't even get to its peak because of the stipulation. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah, I was waiting. They did a lot of good match stuff, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. And then the shitty booking. Oh, here it comes. Like, I was like, so replace like false finishes and high spots with shitty booking. So imagine you're going on a roller coaster and you see that it could go that high, and then it goes clink, 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 clink. Everyone needs to deboard the train. It rolls back down, and then everyone needs to get
Have you guys ever had a match that you started to watch and you instantly give it an A, and then you watch it and you're like, that's not a fucking A now?
Yeah, you would look on paper if you did not see, and you're like,
oh, this is fucking.
If you never saw this match ever, and I'm like, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit for the U.S. title,
it's gonna be an A.
Give me a grade just off you saying that. You'd be like a fucking A- at worst.
And maybe he's had a change of heart. I tell you what, the age of innocence is over for one youngster, Eddie Guerrero.
It looks to me like Guerrero's walking out from a distance with Jacqueline, Kevin Sullivan, and Jimmy Hart, and the belt that belongs to.
There it is. Dean Malenko will retain the title on this disqualification, but Arn Anderson cleaned the clock of Dean Malenko.
And I'd be like,
and
wait
it's
a minute.
not because of the booking and everything else.
Wait a minute.
So I said good work, stupid no finish, and I also said it's still weird seeing Benoit and Woman come down to the ring together, even years later. It's so weird. Because I'm reading ahead and I'm getting really angry.
All right, no, Jake, get into this because please.
Kevin Nash was 6. Andy DiBiase defeats Rick Steiner in 10 minutes and 25 seconds. This is a fucking singles match.
But what was this match for, Dave? So it was.
I'm trying to read it. I was just going to read it.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure everybody.
This is a singles match for the World Tag Team Championships. It's a great
WCW World Tag Team Championships.
That's amazing. What a concept.
Oh.
It's a great F just for the stipulation, and I'm getting upset now. I actually wrote this.
Actually, I didn't realize that it was for the titles for singles match.
The turnbuckle scenario was an absolute nightmare. The whole thing is pure laziness. They can't even get the turnbuckle cut, the turnbuckle padding cut. Everything is a nightmare in this match. It's horrible. If you're going to mace somebody, can you mace Rick? At least Scott could have done something in there. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, what are we doing? Here's the question, guys, by the way. It's an F just on that. But did Scott get paid just to get maced and stay in the back? Do you get paid for that? How does that work?
I'm going to say yes because they all had major downside guarantees. So I'm going to say yes.
The whole thing's infuriating. Why don't have the match or strip them of the titles? Put a storyline around it and have Scott come back. Do something, but don't let him keep the titles.
Put 6 in the corner. I'm sorry. Put him as a tag partner. I'm gonna be calm right now.
Yeah, you could have done that. You could have done a lot.
Or grab one of the other 55 fucking NWO members that you have sitting in the back doing nothing that got probably flown into that show to.
And they all got paid too. I'm sure.
And have them fucking do a tag match. How about that? Unless Scott was injured. I don't know if Scott was injured. I don't think he was. I don't know that. Anybody that gets maced like that guy can't be fucking injured if you catch my drift. I don't know what that means. But I gave it a fat fucking F too. Because I didn't want to see Kevin Nash and Rick Steiner 1-on-1. Even on Nitro.
Who wants to
I don't
see
want to
that?
on Thunder. even on Saturday night's main event, I don't ever want to see Kevin Nash versus Rick Steiner. There's no fucking point in it at all. Yeah. This was pure shit. And he squashed him. On top of that, he squashed him. We didn't get the we didn't get the Steiners versus the Outsiders, which just saying that aloud is a marquee match. So we didn't get that at all. Instead, we got a squash match of Kevin Nash squashing Rick Steiner on a pay-per-view.
Badly beating Rick Steiner.
He's been beating him for the last 10 minutes.
The big jackknife powerbomb.
There's no more fight left in Steiner.
Nothing at
this
all.
big man and the rest of the NWO is taking it out of him. They've beaten him to a pulp.
Nick Patrick even hesitating to make a count. He's not going to make the count. It's over.
Wow. No, it's not over.
No. This match is over.
Yeah, but it ain't over, boys.
But the dissension within the ranks of the NWO, if you ever wondered about it right now, I think is crystal clear. Wow. It's as clear as the television picture you're watching.
Fucking F. Go ahead.
It's ridiculous.
Sorry. I don't know why you're going to yell at me here.
Because you're going to give us something higher than an F.
Yes. And it's only because of the execution of whatever the bullshit was that they thought in their heads, which made sense to them to justify a teasing of a breakup of the NWO and what the Patrick and the DiBiase walk out. For whatever they devised that night out of laziness and Kevin Nash's creative control or Scott not wanting to actually wrestle.
The pay-per-view, Craig,
I gave fuck, you're gonna yell at me. Please don't. I
gave it a C, didn't you?
I gave it a C.
Oh.
And now that I hear you and now that I say it out loud, like I don't know why I think
you're embarrassed.
I was invested in leaning forward in it.
You're
and
ashamed
I kind
of
of got it. But then the whole bullshit behind it, like I think Rick was still kind of protected, kicking out of the jackknife, like, and the whole six and getting, but it was so weird and clunky.
Getting deuced into the turnbuckle like 10 times.
What are you doing right now?
I don't know. I'm talking myself out of it already.
Hey, Craig, I'll tell you when it's enough. Okay, I'll tell you.
I will stop talking, and I know that I'm wrong, but I could have changed it on the fly, but
hey, man,
I wrote down a C. I'm giving it a C.
You got some brass buns sticking to your guns on that grade.
I'm sorry.
Joe, what do you got?
That's all I have. I'm sorry.
Dude, Craig, I'm kind of a little bit there with you.
Oh, no.
Joe, for real?
I actually wrote a C minus.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Like for a lot of those reasons, as like idiotic as the ramp up.
Need I remind both of you that they made people pay money for this? But go ahead with your C. This was not a Nitro. I don't know if we established that. This is not Nitro themed Spring Stampede. This is a pay-per-view.
This is a pay-per-view, but at this point,
they previously announced that they only told you that Hall wasn't going to be there at the beginning of the fucking show after they got your money.
When they knew he had been there for 3 weeks. Yes, because he'd been in rehab.
Cards due to change.
However, we understand that they were booking pay-per-views like a Nitro anyway. So let's just embrace it. Let's just roll with it and deal with it as it is.
Just bite it, bro. Just chomp on it.
I have to say, I will give an aspect of this match an A. Nick Patrick's fucking referee shirt is a goddamn A. And I don't
He's bounding down.
And his earrings.
So
he really,
the earrings, dude.
He really fucking is Kenny Powers.
Fucking makes me laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first thing that came in my head. He's
got like one glove on.
Hey, Jess, can you do a side by side of Kenny Powers and Nick Patrick on this? Can you work that out?
But
yes, I will.
But what was the ending where he didn't want to count the 3? If he felt sorry for Steiner,
Craig, you gave it a C. Why don't you tell me what the fucking ending was? You're so smart.
Listen,
because the psychology was so good, bro.
He had reservations.
So the story.
He was torn between his bully friends.
Yeah.
Bullies.
The allegiance to the NWO and the brutality that they lay out, Joe.
He knew in his heart was right. And I think that, if we look forward over the next couple months, we see his turn. And this is the beginning of that turn. It's set up.
Yeah,
it's
again, I have a theory on that.
It's foreshadowing.
So. Sure. Match number 8. Diamond Dallas Page, accompanied by Kimberly, defeats Randy Savage.
No, you skipped the 4-way.
What?
You skipped the 4-way, the Lex Luger and the Giant against.
Oh, I did because I kind of wanted to. Okay,
it was the stipulation was.
I'm so bad. Let me go back. So Mean Gene interviews the Giant and Lex Luger. It sucks. Match number
It sucks.
7.
You want to know why it sucks? You want to know why it sucks? Because
Why?
instead of them fucking taking the time to explain that this match was stupid and shouldn't have happened to begin with,
Yes.
the Giant had to do a long-winded thing where he's kind of explaining the rules.
If I
He's like,
win,
That's
I
kind of the
go
best
to-
promo
win,
Giant's
this
ever done, by the way.
yeah, but somebody before they hit record said, "Hey, you, the Giant, you have to explain the rules to them." And he's like, "I can barely fucking
Yeah,
I don't
tie my
know.
shoes. Like I don't even
I
know."
feel like
So
Giants
I have to
explain
explain why two
solitaire
tag
right
teams
now.
have to fight for the number 1 contender of the heavyweight title for no fucking reason?
well,
I have a
in tag
pituitary
match-
problem. I'm the Giant.
And you have to,
Yeah,
and
this
on top
is
of it, you have to
stupid.
explain a match that doesn't make any. They did this. They did this. I think. If you go into the archives, there's a what is it? It was at a Starcade where it's like Savage and Flair and somebody else like in a 3-way, and Luger maybe or Sting in a 3-way, but they have to tag in and out.
That's so dumb.
What is the point of like? I mean, I guess the like 3-ways and
Ultimately,
4-ways
you know what?
matches were a little bit new, but why would you have to tag in your partners, but you have to tag in and out, but you also fight each other, but you have to tag in and out? Why wouldn't you just like pin your partner and like?
Yeah.
So okay, so if here's
what they ended up doing.
what happened.
You're right,
here.
Joe. You're absolutely right.
You are totally correct, Joe. So the tag team titles
You guys
were
fucking
decided
patronize
in a
me, dude.
singles match, and the number 1 contender for the singles heavyweight championship is going to be decided in a tag team match.
Hell
Do
yeah.
I got that right?
Hell yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're still watching the
You got
same
it right.
fucking show.
So let's
Wait, did you get it B+, Jess?
No, let's
Yes.
unload this diaper rash. Lex Luger defeats the Giant and Booker T along with Stevie Ray in a 4 corners match.
But he
is what
didn't
it was
defeat the
called.
Giant.
I know, I get it, but this is
No,
what
I'm
it was
not
called.
criticizing
Defeated the
you on
Giant,
that.
Booker T, and
Determine
Stevie Ray.
The number
is what
1
he meant.
contender for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. This match was 18 minutes and 18 seconds long.
God, you're gonna fucking
minus.
kill me.
A-. It's another F on stipulation alone where you had to tag in your opponent and anybody can win the. And even worse, the Giant is going for the choke slam and hands Luger the rack and tags him in because you're the man. Like, who's gonna do that? Who in the world is gonna give up a title shot? And why? Why would you do this? Why would you even
Best
put
friends
this?
with
Why
Lex
would you
Luger.
even think? Who booked this? Did Dusty book this?
He wears a total package T-shirt, dude.
That is unbelievable. And he's got him is on him. He's got him rocked. He's got him rocked. That's it. Oh, man. The Giant took a big step at manhood and iconism, baby. That's what it's all about. Only certain times in a lifetime do you have that opportunity. And he gave it away to Lex Luger.
Come on.
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. But if I can get a title match just for the money, if it was like money, if we're talking about
I
real
will say
stuff,
though that
This is
when
real.
Luger does finally get the title match, it's when he does defeat Hogan on Nitro.
Right.
It's actually one of the greatest Nitro moments ever.
Right.
But
Like
however,
4 months later or something, right? Yeah.
if you talked about how did Luger get that shot, and you
Oh,
told him
Giant
about
gave
this
it to him.
match, people would be like, and they did it. In tag
it's
match.
so stupid.
All right. Did you
Are
give
we
it?
collective,
It's an
I'm
F
not
on
saying anything about it.
stipulation,
I
and I
get-
refuse to talk about it further.
was your
Are we
grade?
collective
Dave?
F on this?
Like-
F, yeah.
I effed it. I
Okay.
effed it all up.
Fuck.
Yeah.
FFF.
Okay. I've had some medical issues recently where I've had high blood pressure, and with high blood pressure comes a lot of irritability. And I got sorted it out this week, and my blood pressure has
Did you
been
give
really
it an
good.
F minus?
I knowing all of this about this concept of the match and the shit going in, I enjoyed seeing Harlem Heat go at each other. I enjoyed the dynamics of Luger and Giant. I enjoyed kind of seeing Harlem Heat kind of shine on a big stage as they did. And I know this makes no goddamn sense at all. But for what it was, and again, I'll go back to like the story they were trying to sell, I guess, was some sort of Giant redemption story, giving it to Luger, even though I fucking hate.
Yes, you're right. You're
even
right.
though I hate Luger, and even though it was nonsensical, despite all of that, I didn't hate it.
Craig, you're fired. You're fired. Get out of here. Just turn
I
it
gave
off.
it a C.
Oh my.
I'm gonna jump right in. I gave it a C minus because
Okay.
I hated the stipulation and I had to stop myself and go, if you take the stipulation out of this about how dumb it is, it's not these guys' fault. But the actual way they worked the match with Luger and the Giant involved, and it still got a C out of my mouth. I was like, okay.
It
like,
had some moments in it, right? That were like that popped the crowd. That
I don't know why. I hate the stipulation. It made zero sense that in this fashion, with a tag team, you're deciding the number one contender
for
the heavyweight championship of the world. I am not defending that at all. I'm just saying that for some odd reason, I'm like, I didn't hate the actual physical
execution
altercation between them. Yeah, the execution of it. I mean, a C- is still not great, but it's a C-.
Joe, get us out of this ridiculousness. Let's get to the next one.
I think I already said A-. Yeah.
Did you say A-?
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
No. It's
match number
like
8.
It's a D-.
It's a what?
It's a D-. The
okay.
I don't like the
Joe.
Giant. I think Luger. This is like one of Luger's like worst periods.
Dave, get to this match.
Yeah, Gene enters DDP. It's
might have smoked a lot of weed.
Match number 8: Diamond Dallas Page, accompanied by Kimberly, defeats Randy Savage, accompanied by Miss Elizabeth, and a no disqualification match that went 15 minutes and 38 seconds. I enjoyed the match. Gave it a B+. The work was good. I love the finish with the NWO, and this is where my theory comes in. Where Craig, you're talking about kind of the stuff with Nick Patrick starting to unravel, and they're kind of getting out of control. I think. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong by the timeline. This is where the NWO is supposed to start unraveling, and eventually you overtake it, like say a year later. Like they do a long burn on it, but you're supposed to start seeing kinks in the NWO. But they never actually killed the NWO. They never moved on from the storyline because they kept wanting to change their mind.
And as a result, it killed the company.
Yeah, and that killed the company, in my opinion. They should have moved on and done something else. Could have done something with Cruiserweights. Could have done a whole.
Other than that, though.
I give this match an A- for this fucking match, man.
I was right on the cusp of it. Yeah,
I loved the heel Savage here. I fucking loved Savage here. My goodness gracious. I mean, he was already a legendary at this point, but if you why do you like Macho Man so much? I mean, I could show you a bunch of things, but go watch his heel work as NWO here.
Good.
He was so fucking good. I didn't know I wanted to see a DDP and Savage feud until they finally had their first altercation 3 or 4 weeks before this pay-per-view, where I was like, oh my God, we need to see a DDP against Macho Man feud. DDP was up on the rise here in January of 97. He told the NWO to go fuck themselves and he wasn't going to join them. He said those words on air, fuck you, loud on Monday Nitro. It's crazy. It didn't happen.
That's great.
Anyway, but in the storyline he did, he told Hall and Nash, nope, I don't want your shit. Go away. And then he diamond cuttered Hall. The place fucking went nuts. DDP was made. DDP tells a story. So many people have told the story about how unselfish Savage was in this feud and about how Savage made him. I can't stress how important it is that DDP went over in this match. And if you have any question about why I'm mad at booking nowadays and why, when Cena beat Miro, he's not Miro, he was Rusev back in the day. When we were mad at WrestleMania 31, when Cena beat Rusev at WrestleMania 31, and then they would go on to have a rematch at the next pay-per-view and a third match, it didn't matter that Rusev might have won one of those 3. What should have mattered was Russo should have went in. In other words, whoever you're trying to push should win the first match. And I'll tell you why. Because DDP was he got the rub from Hall and Nash, and you got to build him. If he would have lost to Savage here, imagine how it would have absolutely killed DDP's momentum. Even if DDP beat Savage in the rematch. But the fact that DDP won here, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you probably didn't know this, and I looked it up just to make sure I was right. Savage would win their rematch, and he would win the rubber match. But it didn't matter because DDP won this match. You don't remember any of that because, first of all, Savage can lose here because he's the goddamn Macho Man. And his character was so strong, it didn't matter. He pile drove Mark Curtis, and I fucking screamed with joy.
Yeah.
I forgot that
I thought he broke his neck actually when he did that.
Dude, oh my God, this
Macho looked out of control here. But
and DDP was such a great babyface in peril in this entire fucking match, and he catches the diamond cutter at the end. The famous story is they were doing house show runs before this match, and DDP, out of respect, completely left it up to Savage and said, "You tell me who's going to win at Spring Stampede. Whatever you want to do, man. I'm cool." Because they just found out they got the main event. They were just fucking happy they got the main event of pay-per-view. So Savage was like, let me think about it. Yeah. So Savage was just listening to the crowd. They would do some matches. Every night Savage went over in house shows. Every night. And then the last house show before the pay-per-view, Arn Anderson was kind of like helping them out with their match. And Arn came back and he's like, so much, what are we doing tonight? Same finish? And he's like, no, I think DDP hits me with a diamond cutter, 1, 2, 3. And then Diamond Dallas Page said, I'm doing my boots. And he's like, I'm looking down at the ground. And I didn't want to look up at Macho Man because I was going to cry. And he was just like, fuck. And then Anderson's like, are you sure you want to do that? And he's like, yep, I'm damn sure. And so on that house show night, they did the same ending. He hit the diamond cutter out of nowhere, took a little bit to crawl over and cover him. So the crowd would think Savage would kick, and he didn't. And then DDP said, I thought I was fucked because, like, once he hit 3, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, no fucking response. And then, the crowd
because they didn't think it was going to happen. Yeah.
And then that's when Macho Man came back and he's like, yep, Spring Stampede, we're definitely doing that. And so while the reaction wasn't as big as the way the reaction was big here, but it wasn't as big as that. But it was a big enough reaction where I think the crowd kind of held back on this pop because they didn't believe it was going to happen. They were just like, when he took forever to crawl over, I remember me watching this live on pay-per-view going, he's not going to get the 3. Oh my God, he hit 3. Like, and it was just the place went crazy. And Nick Patrick was the ref with his goddamn guns out. Like, everything was awesome on that. And Shivani with, you better count, like yelling at Nick Patrick, you better count. Like, and it was awesome. Like, everything worked out perfect. If DDP did not win this first match, it would have all been fucked.
Everyone's watching this. He hooked him, boys! He hooked him! That's it! That's it! This place has erupted. Everyone is standing. Savage, when you thought he had Diamond Dallas had Savage, and look at Nick Patrick.
The pressure's on him right now, Brain. He knows he's not going to get up.
Come on, Patrick.
Count him. Go ahead. You better count.
Come on. 1, 2, 3. He got him. He got him. Is Nick Patrick back or what? You tell me. I can't figure it out.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, it's not over yet.
But you could say what you want about WCW in this period and about how mad we get about the overbooking. This is done the way it should. And like I just told you, Savage won both the other matches, but it doesn't matter because the first match you remember. You always remember that first match, and you're like, DDP fucking caught him, and he can catch him again. And Macho Man's character was so strong that it didn't matter. Macho fucking attacked him 2 weeks later on Nitro and got all of his heat back. He got his heat back on this at the end of this match. Because the way they did the theatrics or whatever. So I know I went on long, but I just cannot stress how important this was to make a star and to show you that, like, not you guys, but people who really think that, like, Macho maybe should have gone over. No, he shouldn't have. He made the right call on that house show before this pay-per-view where he's like, I think he hits me with a diamond cutter. Like, and I think that because WCW was never a unified voice like WWF is, that unfortunately shit like that gets lost. Hogan and Sting didn't follow that fucking formula, and they should have. Can you imagine if fucking Sting beat Hogan like this at Starrcade? That's the way it should go. Hogan could win the title back 2 months later, and it wouldn't matter because Sting won it the first time when it matters. Like,
Macho hears the pop and goes, well, that's going to make money. Let's do that.
He's just like, we could fucking, we're going to get, so if Savage wins here, who cares about their next 2 matches? Nobody cares. But because DDP wins and they're like,
veteran won, it's over.
Savage had 20 guys in his corner. He had an entire gang in his corner, and fucking DDP still beat him. But if Savage beats him, you could push a storyline of like, oh, poor DDP never had a chance. It was 25 against 1. I get that storyline, but you're not trying to get my money out of my wallet if you do that.
I thought this was a really fun match. I ended up giving it a B+. Same. I thought, echoed. I don't want to repeat all the stuff Jess just said. I think I gave it a B+ instead of a little bit higher because of like the run-ins and all the shit, like the kind of schmaz at the end. But I did get a kick out of. All I have is a note. I don't remember exactly what happened. When like at some point, Savage kicks a little kid in the face. Did you guys see that? Did you guys catch that? Like he gets flipped up and like they're along the rail. Like Savage's foot goes straight into a kid's face, and I was like,
I missed that.
Awesome.
It's why they changed the rail when WWE does the solid black block now. Like,
because his foot went through the railing.
It just cracked me up. Like I don't know if he flips or he gets lifted or something, but he kicks a kid in the face, and I was like, oh,
good,
forgot about that. Brilliant.
Oh, he walks in and there's like a mother and 2 girls on the mats facing the ring. Do you guys see that? When Macho does his entrance and then he stands on the stairs and flexes for these two girls next to their mother, but they're standing. They're not behind the railing. They're in front of the railing.
Maybe they won a competition or like won a contest or something like that.
Had to be. I was like, what the fuck are they doing there?
Local 75.2 KBS radio winners right there.
God, I hope that's even kicked in the face like two girls.
So
God.
And there's just like one logistical issue. If they are going to go out into the crowd and do like some like throwing trash cans and shit on each other, which was awesome. I enjoyed that part. Let's make sure that there's no like beer or Coca-Cola like in the trash can that they ended up slipping all over. Both of them were slipping all over the place.
It's like this is the.
But I have to say though, Joe, like that is real to me. Like if it's if it's like a foam trash can that WWE produces, you're like, oh, they're fucking men.
But if I'm being real,
it's almost like it's a real trash can. They weren't fucking supposed to grab that.
But they grabbed the wrong one. In my opinion, they grabbed the wrong one. That one was full of trash and garbage.
There was one next to it on the
one next to it was empty.
But then they stopped at the doors.
Fine.
It's like they went there. It's like they went all that way just to do that spot with the trash can and didn't go past the doors into the aisleway or into the concourse.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot more they should have
definitely
probably done.
Yeah.
But Joe, I agree with you because they both whisper to each other like, "Oh,
all over the place." On
they could have hurt themselves really bad on that.
Yeah.
Broke a hip.
But good match, good solid match. Enjoyed it.
I fucking give it
the crowning DDP was. I mean, and to watch that guy go from shitty manager.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Right?
To driving the Cadillac,
eventually world champ, but like like beating Macho Man in a main event at a pay per view, I was like, man, it was cool to watch that guy's evolution.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Craig, what do you give it?
I give it a full solid A. I was mesmerized by Savage. They gave him like the video, like the Goldberg entrance of the entire walk down where he's talking to Elizabeth. He's pimping Slim Jim. Jess said earlier, if you look at Dave's photo, he's even got the small details, like he's matching the lightning bolts from his headband to the glasses that he's wearing. These guys knew there was no Hogan, Hall, Flair, Piper. This was their moment to main event, and they were going to do everything in their power to blow the roof off the joint, and they really, really did. I've never seen Savage so heel. I wrote a note, and I LOL'd so hard when Penzer wouldn't give up his seat, and he stomps David Penzer, the ring announcer, in the head. And he would have done the same to Michael Buffer, but Buffer gave up his seat right away. But Penzer
didn't give a shit. Savage was out for it. Savage. His heel character here was fucking. He was a maniac, and I loved it.
He was fucking with the crowd and screaming at everybody. Like,
Craig, keep the mic going though. What do you grade the whole pay-per-view? Quick.
Fuck, so funny. So even after, I'll give it fucking like what, C- for the whole pay-per-view? Maybe a D?
I gave it C-. Joe, what do you got?
Even after
C-.
Yeah.
D-.
D-.
No, C-.
Oh,
C-.
Yeah.
No, I gave it a C-. I think there was some good stuff. There was some garbage.
Yeah, Jess, what do you give it?
C-.
Man, it's all C- unanimous. That is.
Are you C- too, Dave?
Yeah, that's. I have it actually in my notes as a C-. I get really upset, but DDP and Macho really saved the day for us. But there's some horseshit stipulations throughout this thing. It's angry. There's a great opener and a great main event.
If this was a Monday Nitro, I'd be like, do you remember that one Monday Nitro where DDP beat Savage? One of the greatest Monday Nitros I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but because it was a pay-per-view, I'm like, this is fucking.
Except Jess paid $30.
This was a shit sandwich with some really good bread on each side of it. Is what it was.
But I think this is not to harp on it, but like I think that this is an example of why the company eventually went out of business. Like, you had some awesome stuff, and they had like moments of like brilliance in parts.
Yeah.
Mixed in with so much selfishness and so much like stupidity and so much dumb booking from people that had too much control and who didn't want to look bad on TV, that it eventually, I mean, if they had taken all of the good shit and like, if you had a Vince McMahon and he was like, took all that good stuff, WCW, this is a different wrestling world, like 20 years later.
Sure.
Like WCW is still in business. If they take all of the good stuff and just
really,
they told those 3 or 4 guys with creative control to fuck off.
Yeah.
WCW is still in business today.
I agree. And way too much Mongo. So For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. For Joe, Craig, Jess, and myself, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.